Welcome back to Saturday Night Politics. I'm still Donny Deutsch, and joining the group is That was funny. I'm still Donny Deutsch. I guess not. I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not. Joining the group is Adrienne Elrod. She was senior advisor to the Hillary Clinton campaign and a leading Democratic strategist. Let's get back to the wall. The Ross Manifesto. Stephen Ross, billionaire real estate developer and owner of the Miami Dolphins, Equinox Gyms, and SoulCycle held a multi-million-dollar fundraiser in the Hamptons for Trump yesterday after backlash from many of the customers of Ross-owned companies. His reported response, according to the Axios, is the sickening rationale for every Trump voter who sells their soul for $1.
You're just upset you can't take your helicopter.
Yeah, exactly. Right? This, to me, is, on a personal level, the most galling response I get from Trump voters. I want to put up the Stephen Ross response. And this is not about how you're going to change billionaires' mind. Whenever you talk to a voter, and I'm not talking about somebody who, you know, makes $40,000 a year and they believe Trump's going to put food on the table. I'm talking about somebody that's the difference between making $800,000 or $830,000 or $2 million and $2.2 million. And they go, I've known Donald Trump for 40 years, and while we agree on some issues, we strongly disagree on many others. A reason for my engagement with our leaders is my deep concern for creating jobs and growing our country's economy. I have been and always continue will be an outspoken champion of racial equality. Shut up. That's my concern right now. You own it. Every voter, Adrienne, you don't get the luxury anymore. If you are an educated voter, if you're a voter with money, and you are making that decision based on the economy, you can no longer, you can, but you're not fooling yourself. You have to look in the mirror and know what you're doing. You are voting for the other stuff also. You own it all. Adrienne, how do the Democrats turn that into a message?
Well, you turn into a message by reiterating that you cannot have it both ways, and that's what I think you've seen with so many Republicans time and time again. Back in 2016, we saw it with some voters who said, you know what, I'm going to throw away my vote on Hillary Clinton because there's just something about her I don't like, so I'm going to vote for Jill Stein. You can almost apply the same theory here, right, that there are so many people who are, you know, they don't like Trump's tweets. They don't like, you know, his behavior. They don't like his racist, misogynistic, xenophobic comments. But they like the tax cuts, and there are certain policies they like. So they try to excuse it. Stephen Ross is going out and raising, we're not just talking about a $20,000 fundraiser. He's raising millions and millions of dollars for Donald Trump.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about the fundraiser. I'm talking about, and a lot of these are my friends, and I'm embarrassed, and it actually changes the way I feel about them. Because once again, if you are somebody you believe he's going to put food on your table, but you know better. And we just came off a week, Jay, where the exact words he used were used in a manifesto of somebody who killed, somebody who had a mass slaughter. You got to own that.
Yeah.
You got to say, I'm okay with that then.
Look, here's the thing, and this is a fundamental thing about how this election works. Now, this is not my journalist hat. This is my political science professor.
Thank God, because I got no journalist.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
So I've always sort of been very doubtful of swing voters, but what you do have is a certain slice of voters in our electorate who, as you mentioned, I like the tax cuts. Okay, it comes with a little side of racism, right? Well, the side of racism is now becoming a problem because it's leading to terrorism, right? It is leading to terrorist action in our lives, in our communities, in ways that are touching us and touching white people, black people, brown people, tan people in locations that we heretofore thought were safe. Walmarts are supposed to be safe. Synagogues are supposed to be safe. The Garlic Festival is supposed to be safe. That is what's happening. So I think Democrats are on a wonderful opportunity here when they say, look, this stuff, and you've seen people say it this week with bet on other people, this is domestic terrorism. The president is leading to domestic terrorism. The president is taking safety away from you. So those tax cuts don't mean anything if you're getting shot down in the middle of Walmart during Christmas shopping. And that's the argument that they are starting to make. The question will be, can they be passionate enough about it, and will they say it to the audiences who don't want to hear it?
Sam, how do you...
There's a lot of frustration with Trump voters this week because what we wanted was the president simply to go on a Twitter tear and simply say, look, this psychopath, these sick racists that are doing this, they're not part of us, they're not part of this movement. And he's constitutionally incapable of that. And now what he does is he sees the argument on the Second Amendment, and I think that he's in a weaker position that will actually hurt him, not only with female voters in the suburbs, but also with his rural voters. If he starts looking at a position where he is seen as going weak on the Second Amendment, taking away, not protecting that, then you'll see that his number will be even lower than it was in 2016.
Look, Adrienne, and then I want to get to you, Governor. The Democrats won 40 seats, and they won it with kitchen table issues. And one of the reasons they won it also is a lot of Trump voters the first time around were able to say, well, we'll give it a wig. Maybe he's just saying these things to get elected. You don't have that out anymore. And no. I can't figure out the exact way to do the shame strategy, because it is a shame strategy. You look at a grown man or grown woman, a mother or a father, say, look, yeah, he is better if you're pocketbook, but here's the deal. This is the beginning of Nazi Germany in the 30s. You have blood on your hands, and you have to. You okay with that? And I want everybody out there to one-on-one talk to those Trump swing voters, because that is a guttural appeal.
It is, Donny, and I'm glad that you raised this point because, I mean, here's the bottom line. We know this from polls in 2016 that a lot of people who said they're not going to vote for Donald Trump actually did, because I think they were embarrassed and shamed to actually say that to a pollster. But, you know, looking forward, we actually have to have a real conversation about this, and I think Democratic candidates have to go out there and make the case to voters in the way that we've seen this past week.
Let me just move on to the next topic, because it's passion and compassion. One soundbite from one Democratic candidate cut through this past week, cut through more than anything I've seen in this entire election process, is the secret to defeating Republicans in 2020. And it was not about single-payer insurance.
Is there anything in your mind that the president can do now to make this any better?
What do you think? You know that he's been saying? He's been calling Mexican immigrants rapists and criminals. I don't know, like, members of the press, what the Hold on a second. You know, it's these questions that you know the answers to. I mean, connect the dots about what he's been doing in this country. He's not tolerating racism. He's promoting racism.
Governor, we've had thousands and thousands of sound bites in this election cycle about climate control, about universal health care, about everything. Nothing has cut through like that. That's what voters want. I know it in my gut. They want, once again, you can't walk away from the kitchen table issues. You've got to wrap them up, though, in a bigger place. This is good versus evil. The Democrats have never been the party of constructive rage. That was always Republicans. Democrats have got to learn from that 8-second soundbite.
Well, I'm not into constructive rage. Dial it back just a couple of notches. And what I'd say is there is something that does appeal to the soccer mom out there, or the swing voter, or go down the list, and that is America a transaction? Because fundamentally what we're getting at, and what Beto was getting at, is, wait a minute, you guys know the answers to a lot of this, and what we're just talking about with regard to the Ross fundraiser was, again, is America a transaction? I get a good tax cut, and I get a couple other things that my 401k is doing okay. Or is it a deeper set of values that are commonly shared that we come from very different starting
Jay,
points?
let me ask you a question. When you were watching the debates, and they're going back and forth on little, guess what? The answer is, we're all for protecting your health care.
Right.
And here's the bigger issue. And they're not getting it. They're tone deaf.
Well, they don't have to get it yet. They don't have to get it yet. Remember, this is still a primary. You're still trying to figure out who's going to get the job. The thing that I think is really key here, and it cannot, you cannot forget this, no matter how many times people are screaming, how many times they're debating. Going after swing voters is a waste of damn time, and especially now. You know,
How do you define a suburban mom is a waste of time?
No, I'm not saying the suburban moms are a waste of time. What I'm saying is Hillary Clinton had a 3 million vote lead, okay? Any Democrat who's not Hillary Clinton, who a lot of people hated, is coming into this thing with a 3 million vote lead. Historically speaking, the president never gains
and what
voters
did she
in the second
have?
time.
Passion. She had no passion.
She didn't have passion. People didn't like her. People didn't trust her, which is not a problem anyone else is going to have. Rather than running around and chasing swing voters, who, again, I think are ephemeral from a theoretical standpoint, why don't you go and focus on the people who already turned out? Why don't you do something about voter protection? Why don't you do something about black and Latino voters who can't vote in Georgia? That's a smarter move by Democrats than running after suburban soccer.
I have to break. See, I think that's all the same. I think that's the genius of you wrap it. Everybody is feeling that rage. And so whether you're somebody who feels you're not going to be able to vote the way you're supposed to, if you're somebody who feels your health care is going to be taken away, if somebody who's afraid to take their kid to a mall, that's not black, that's not white, that's not Muslim, that's who we are. And that's where you transcend that stuff. All right, we've got to go to the next break. Still ahead, guys.